All right. So we're going to keep moving on here. Paula, what would you like to start with?
What about page 42? Page
Questions.
41 is really about active listening and our body language, and we can talk some about that, of just noticing the patient's body language, if they're closed off or if they're open. And 93% of our communication is nonverbal. And you can say one word and have a different meaning to it with the body language we give that word, right? So I think we have to pay attention to that if we're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, totally, Paula. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So what we have to pay attention to when we're talking with our patients is, are we looking at them? I had one doctor who the computer was behind the patient's head. He was always talking to the patient behind the patient because he was looking at the computer. So that's a huge deal of our body language. Are we getting on the same level with them? When a patient comes up front, I used to stand up a lot because I'm very short. I'm 5 feet tall, 5 feet short. And
Vertically challenged, Paula.
whatever the PC way is of saying, and the counter, comes up to my nose. So I would always stand up, and that helps with some of the patients who are, looking down at you as an admin person.
Mm.
And especially some of the DE patients, I would stand up. It gives me a little more power in my conversation with the patient. So there are different body language things like that we pay attention to. But the next skill that is really another foundation basic, what have we been talking about? We talked about purpose, vision, our self-esteem, keeping a 10 on our head, avoiding approval addiction, fear of failure. We talked about team harmony. These are basics. You can't have a mastermind if you don't have harmony. And then recognizing personality styles. It really helps us in that 85% success of people skills. The next one, the last foundation skill, is asking questions.
Yeah. You notice Paula says, "Are you with me?" I say, "Does that make sense?" We got to add those questions.
We absolutely do. And so how many seconds do we have before we lose someone's attention?
What? I'm sorry. What were you saying?
How many
Ten.
seconds do we have before we lose someone's attention?
7.
7? It might be less than that in Tennessee. I don't know. What about Alabama?
I think personality-wise, you're going to lose people's attention depending on I think an S and a C can probably pay attention a lot longer than an I or a D.
Yeah, I believe you. I think you're right about that. They're more ADHD, right? So we have to pay attention.
You mean we?
Yeah. We have to pay attention when we're talking to the patients that we're not giving a lecture. Look who's talking. Wasn't that a TV show or something? Look
Yep.
who's talking. So are we giving a lecture? Are we engaging our patients, or are we lecturing? Now, where does a lecture come into play? Where do you find yourself lecturing a patient? And we don't call it lecturing. You know what we usually call it in dentistry? We call it educating. Right? When do you find yourself, so let me ask a hygienist, when do you find yourself going in education mode with the patient? What's the topic that you usually find yourself educating a patient about?
Perio,
Perio?
systemic.
Yes. So we go into a lecture about that. We go into a talk, our education talk. And you know what happens is we lose our patient's attention because we're not asking questions. So how can we educate them while we're asking questions? That's the $1,000,000 question. So a clue on that is go back to the back of your manual again, to that form that we were talking about, and look at the page that says patient visit right here. Look at all the questions we're going to be asking. Look at all the questions. What would that mean to you? Why is that important to you? Go to the next page. We start the clinical exam. Has that started to hurt yet? Is there any pus or blood? Um, we always check for signs of cancer. Has anyone done this for you before?
Even the phone
And
call, Paula, the first page.
yeah, even on the phone call, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very first page. Here's the bottom line. You guys control a conversation by asking, or you can dominate a conversation by telling. So
Yes.
when a patient calls in, and we'll get into this obviously some more, they don't know what to ask for, and then we just start answering questions. We answer questions. We answer questions, and they're the one asking. They're in control of the conversation, and they don't know where to take the conversation. Therefore, it goes down the drain, and we wonder why we don't have a high conversion rate
Well, and
in dentistry.
they call in and say, "Do you take my insurance?" And automatically we let the patient have control of the conversation. We've already lost control. How do you get it back? You say, "I'm so glad you called. My name is Paula, and yours is." I just took it back.
Transition statement, right, into a question. Perfect. So, and the other questions that Paula's showing you, and we're going to get into these some more, but she's showing you in the Over Here Psychology Clinic, like there's implication questions where you imply something. Has this tooth started to hurt you yet? Right. We'll talk about that some more. She's talking also about clarifying questions. So limiting terms. Let's say Paula is the doctor and I'm the assistant, and she starts using limiting terms. I can clarify back to her. I say, so what you're saying is, doctor, that tooth has an old metal filling in it. You're concerned about it breaking. And I dumb it down, right? I make it really simple for the patient to hear. So you got to use questions throughout this whole system. That's why Paul is saying it's foundational. Questions will always be a part of this.
And tell them, Eric, what you do with one of your kids about cleaning their room.
Yeah, so those are accountability questions, and it's a how question. So instead of saying, did you clean your room? I say, how'd it go cleaning your room? And I just walked by and saw how messy it was. I go, hey, how'd it go cleaning your room? I'm enforcing, I believe in you. I know that you can do it, right? And they'll go, oh, yeah, let me get right on that. Instead of, I say, did you clean your room? Oh, Dad, gosh, leave me alone, right? You hear the difference?
Yes.
Accountability questions, yeah. So there's all types of questions that you can ask. You just got to know where to use them, and we're going to systematize that for you. Just know the broad topic of questions is a foundation principle.
And we're not trying to be confrontational. For example, I had a doctor say, well, I like to ask patients, why do your front teeth look like two pieces of corn?
Wow.
Yeah.
S patient crying.
Why are your teeth green? I mean, that's just, why would you not want to do this? I mean, no, that's just being pushy and confrontational. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about manipulating someone. It's really about discovery. And some questions are teaching questions. And I didn't list that on here, but I love teaching questions. So a teaching question is, how long have you had this infection? Why is that a teaching question? What's that?
They might not know. They have to know.
That's right. That's right. And they usually answer back, well, what infection? I didn't know I had an infection. Now you've engaged them instead of saying, well, you have infection in your gums and we call this periodontal disease and you're going to need to come back for 4 quads of scaling and root planing. Scaling? Planing? What in the heck is she going to do to me? There's those limiting terms that we talked about earlier. So we want to ask questions. And it's very interesting that, like Eric said, you dominate a conversation by talking. You control a conversation by asking. We don't want to dominate the conversation. We want to know what the patient's thinking because, and write this down, it's important. Asking questions is like trial closing.
ABCs.
It's letting me know that the patient is engaged, that they're with me as we go along. Asking equals trial closing. Do y'all know what I mean when I say trial closing? Dr. Davis, do you know what that means?
Yeah, basically, like she said, is kind of reviewing, everything, making sure they get the point.
So if you use a limiting term, let's say I say periodontal, and then I keep talking and talking and talking, And Paula, the patient, was thinking, what does periodontal mean? What does that mean? I'm confused on that. And then she forgot she didn't hear anything I said after that. Or I say crown, and she just is thinking about money at that point, and she doesn't hear everything I say afterwards. You got to put those trial closes in there. Am I making sense so far? Okay, how does that sound up to this point? Are you with me? Right? Those sorts of things all along to make sure they're on board and you didn't lose them. Because if you wait to the very end and say, how do you feel about moving forward with this? Do you see any good reason why you wouldn't want to go forward with this? You do that at the very end and you didn't do your trial closes all the way along. You lost them. And I don't mean just in case presentation. I mean from the phone call to when they're in the chair to when you're everything, the whole process. Because as soon as you lose them, it's over.
Well,
That's why I say,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
We'll talk about this a lot. And it's so funny because, we're in a kind of regiment. They got a new patient exam. I've got 3 patients waiting on me. And we said it many times, but I'll go in there and I do ask a lot of questions. Y'all know how long has this been bothering? How long is this thing? And then the hygienist will come back and go, they don't have any issues. The next thing they start telling me this whole life story, and I look at the patient and they go, I'm like, they ain't told me none of this. But I think a lot of it, I'll pull that information out, especially about the headaches and the jaw.
Okay.
I do tend to ask questions, and then they'll start a whole nother, like, they never told me any of this, Dr. Davis. I never heard about it.
Now, I want to defend the team here. I'm going to win the team over here. Okay, you guys are going to love me, and I know Dr. Davis already loves me, but let me say this. You know why that happens? Because of past experiences. Medical offices have taught me how to treat my experience. Because I went through and I told the lady on the phone what was going on. I wrote on the piece of paper what the problem was. I told the nurse why I was there, and the doctor walked in and said, so what brings you in today? And I've learned, why bother repeating myself? Let me just take it straight to the source. And so they might ask for those things all along, but the patient isn't sharing. So team, what you can do is say, I want to make sure, Paula, I want to make sure we're on the same page here. It's super important for us to be just totally understanding what it is you're looking for the health and appearance of your smile. And I want to learn that from you so I can tell Dr. Davis, the more information you give me, the better job we're going to do at taking care of you, and the more informed he's going to be. Does that sound fair?
That sounds good.
All right, tell me. And then you guys go like this. You go, tell me, describe, explain, share with me. You're going to hear me say these things more and more over these 2 days. So tell me, describe, share with me, explain. Those are commands. Tell me how your day went at school today, Naomi.
Right.
That's different than saying, how was your day? Good. Explain to me what you guys did in class today.
Yeah. Avoiding that yes or no answer. Open-ended questions.
That's right. So 2 things are probably happening in that situation, Dr. Davis. One, they don't want to waste their time if you're just going to come in and repeat those things. But 2, how we ask those questions. I want to empower the team members to be able to ask the question the right way so that you do get the information. So when you walk in the room, I say, Dr. Davis, this is Paula, and we've been talking, and it's been a few years since she's been at the dentist. It's not her favorite place. I told her today is going to be pretty straightforward and not to stress out. We're going to just relax, get to know each other. And she was referred by Betty White. And so we talked about Betty a little bit and how we both appreciate her so much. And gosh, she's been around forever. And then we started talking about what she's looking for the health and appearance of her smile. And she has some concerns on the right side, tooth number XYZ, this, and that. Is that right, Paula?
Yeah, you have good memory.
Is there anything I left out of that you wanted to share with Dr. Davis?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so when I leave the room and he's in here with you, you're not going to tell him something you haven't already told me, right? No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. You guys get it though, right?
That's a really good way to do, and I've recommended that several times. On the phone, sometimes I'll say, is there anything you're going to be asking the doctor today? The hygienist can say, now when the doctor comes in, is there anything you're going to be asking the doctor about today? That's another good question to ask. The thing about trial closing is if your patient's not talking, you don't know whether they're with you or not. It's kind of like in church. This is a problem why people fall asleep in church, because the minister's not engaging you with questions. If they start asking you questions, you're going to wake up a little bit. So 75, another thing about asking questions, engaging, is 75% of us will start thinking of an answer when we're asked a question. You can't help it. It's just the way your brain is wired. And so when we ask questions, we're engaging them, keeping them with us instead of telling. And in dentistry, we get into lecture mode and telling, and instead of, it goes back to that need versus want. So Eric, there's two kinds of questions we categorize here, leaders and trailers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, leaders and trailers.
At the beginning of a sentence, we start the sentence with a question, and trailers are questions at the end of a sentence. So we want you to write down some of these as we go through. So how could we start a question, Eric? See, I just did it. How can we start the sentence with a question?
Would it make sense, ... How would you feel if ...
Yep.
Are we on the same page with ...
If there were a way.
Yep. How do you feel about ...
Yep.
Would it make sense to ... Now, think about it this way too. I really have to slow my brain down, really my mouth. As an external processor, the words are coming out simultaneous to the thought process. C's and S's, internal process, are actually thinking about it. You ever been in a conversation with a C and you're like, are we still talking? Like if you're on the phone, you're like, are you still there? They're thinking about the words they're actually going to say before they say them. Not like me. Mine are like gumdrops. And I go, oops, I didn't mean to say that. Dumb me, right? Okay? That's the I's and the D's. So when you think about these leaders and trailers, who's going to be good at thinking about the sentence structure before they actually say it? The C's and the S's. They're actually thinking about using lead. So leaders are going to come natural to your S and your C personality types. The I's and D's, you're really going to have to work on it, or you'll be like Paul and I, where we tell, and then we tack a trailer on the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I forget. Oh, I'm supposed to be asking a question.
Does that make sense? So don't kick yourself if you're an I or a D and you're struggling with leaders. Work at it. You can work at it. Write some down that you like to use.
Okay, so Eric, let's demonstrate.
Okay.
We're going to play hot potato.
So in trailers, just make sure trailers are just I tell and I tack on the end. Does that make sense? Does that sound fair? Am I on track here? ... Trailer. Okay.
So we're going to play hot potato, and then we're going to ask you to play hot potato. So we're going to demonstrate. Okay.
What's our subject? Are we doing a subject, or are we just going to go for it?
We can just go for it.
Okay. All right. Go for it.
Start with, have you ever had whitening before? So the potato is, if you're asking a question, you can get rid of your potato. If you just answered without asking a question, you lose. Now, this is silly. This is just practice. You don't have to stay on the same subject.
And this isn't what you would do with a patient.
No, and this is just, you can answer the question as long as you put a question on the end. So I'm going to start, and Eric's got to answer me the question, and then I have to answer back with a question. So we're just going to do this back and forth thing, okay, for just a few seconds. So Eric, do you do whitening in your practice?
Tell me more about what you're looking for yourself, Paula. We have lots of options.
Well, let's see. Have you seen that Zoom whitening thing?
Oh, so you're paying attention to what's going on out there, aren't you?
Yeah. Have you seen that commercial?
Absolutely. It's one of my favorites. I love it when it comes on. When was the last time you saw it? Pretty recently?
Yeah, actually I did. And you know the tennis club down the street? Have you ever been in that tennis club?
Yeah. Have we run into each other before there?
Do you play there?
All the time. What's your record? Are you undefeated?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm always undefeated. Well, what level of player are you?
Oh, I'd rather not say. I think if you saw me, you'd probably be able to guess. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you see what we're doing?
That went downhill. Way from bleaching. That was no bleaching in there.
I know. Well, that's what the eyes do.
Two eyes. Yeah. Have I seen you there?
Okay, so I want you to find a partner. I want you to find a buddy, and I want you to do this game. So the long-haired person asks the question first, and the short-haired person has to answer with a question. Turn the lights on for a minute, Dr. Davis. Yeah. Let's wake up.
Waking them up.
Okay, so let's take a few minutes. Oh, And let's play hot potato. Okay, so go for it.
Oh, I know. No, it's in there. You like
Okay, we can stop. How
All
was
right.
that? Did that feel like awkward? Yeah, I'm hearing lots of laughing here. I think this is good. Lots of engagement, back and forth, back and forth.
So, Paul, one of the rules,
Now we can't get them back, Eric.
yeah.
They're lost.
Hey, look, this is a Paula and Eric seminar. The fun's over. All right, get serious. Right?
Wait,
Yes, Dr. Davis, what's that?
we broke away. We broke away.
Yeah, I know, huh? All right, so here's one rule that I want you to remember for a patient interaction. Answer a question with what? With a
Another
question. And you don't have to always just never answer, but you want to clarify. I want to show an example. There's two reasons why somebody would always ask a question. We make the assumption we know that it's one of them over the other, and that's messed up. Okay, for example, if Paula were to just do it the wrong way and just answer me, I call in and I say, Paula, do you see kids in your office? The assumption is, okay, what would the assumption be? Why would I be asking if she sees kids in her office?
Well, people don't see kids. And she's
Well,
got
she has
kids,
to
yeah.
Okay, so now you got both. Now you hear both, right? So she's gonna do it the wrong way. I say, Paula, do you see kids in your office?
Yeah, we love kids. We got kids all over the place in our office. We'd be happy to see your kids.
Oh, I'm trying to get away from my kids. I'd want to go to a quiet dental office where I don't have to hear any screaming anymore. Click, hang up the phone, game over, right? Now, if she does it the right way, you can use 5 words, and we already shared this with you. You can use 5 words to dig a level deeper, figure out left or right, and then go that route, right? Those 5 words are tell me more about that. That being in parentheses. You might want to write that one down. So now I ask it again. She's going to figure out the level deeper, and then she'll go with it. Okay. So Paula, do you guys see kids in your office?
Well, how old are your children?
Oh, well, it's actually for me. I have
No.
kids, but I'm trying to go to an office where I don't have to hear nervous. I'm pretty nervous going to dental office, and I don't like hearing kids scream or too much rambunctious. I'm trying to find somewhere where I can go in and just kind of have a Zen experience. You know what I mean?
Bless your heart. I certainly understand that. You know, the best time for you to come is like 9 or 10 in the morning. It's real quiet around here. About that.
Nine sounds like a 2-syllable word there, Paula. 9 or 10. Okay, that's 2 syllables too. I love it. Yes, that sounds so zen to me. Let's do it.
We'll put you in our spa room. How does that sound?
So do you hear what she did, guys? She clarified and then went with the solution that matched me. She didn't say, yeah, we see kids and we could put you at 9 or 10. She just went right for the solution after she clarified.
Let's do another one, Eric. Let's do
All right.
nitrous.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so now when a patient asks, do you use nitrous in your office? You got to remember there's 2 possible reasons why they'd be asking that question. One is what? Why would they be asking that question? What's the obvious reason?
They want it.
They want it. They want it. What's the opposite, less obvious reason?
They don't want it.
They're pregnant, that makes them sick, they heard about bad experience, whatever it is. So, Paula, do you guys use nitrous in your office?
Well, tell me more about that. Have you used nitrous in the past?
Oh, as often as possible, Paula. I love it.
Really?
Yeah, if I could
We
have
use
it like tapped into my sink at home, it would be amazing.
We use it when the patients are gone, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love you guys. When can I come? Are you guys there right now? Can I come down right now? I'm going to Uber to you, okay? I don't want to drive. Okay.
Right.
So we're having fun with this, but you see, she clarified what direction was I going to go. Now, if she had done it the wrong way, it didn't matter what she was going to say because I was going to choose the opposite. She loses
Yeah,
every
exactly.
time.
Yeah. So, wrong way, Yeah, we use nitrous. We have nitrous. We have a lot of our patients use nitrous. You walk down the halls, people got nitrous on their face all day long.
Oh. I just say no to drugs. I'm trying to find an office where they don't do drugs. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So answer the question with a figure out which direction they're going and then get there. Practicing in Maine, we'd get New Yorkers. We'd get these very you guys, I mean, you've probably been, it's very hurried. It's very bottom line.
That's the D breeding ground. The
Oh my
D
gosh.
personality breeding ground.
Yeah. Don't take advantage of me. Very direct and bossy. And so every now and then we get some people that relocate and get out of that and in Maine. And I had this caller and he said, do you bill insurance in your office? And I thought, let me use my skills. Tell me more about your insurance. I'd be happy to help you. And he says, oh, no, I don't have insurance. I don't have that insurance. I pay cash. I pay cash where I go. And I found out, listen to this, I found out from my office that I'm paying more than everybody else is paying in that office because I pay cash. I'm looking for an office that ain't going to try to take advantage of me anymore. You know what I'm saying? So you guys bill insurance in your office. That's what I want to know. So what he was really asking is what? Don't take advantage of me. And so he was looking for an office that didn't even accept assignment, that didn't even bill insurance. And I was like, buddy, this doesn't exist, what you're talking about as far as not billing it. We charge everybody the same rate that walks through if they have insurance or not, just so you know. But he wasn't having it. He felt like someone was trying to take advantage of him. He was a D and wanted what? Control of that situation. So even though I used my verbal skills, I still didn't convert him to a patient because of, and I invited him to come, call back if he wanted to, but it just wasn't the right fit. He was very offended by his prior office and he was carrying that into the next relationship. It was going to be a tough sell moving forward. But do you guys hear how I said, tell me more about your insurance?
Yeah.
He didn't even have it. He didn't have it.
So this, on the phone, I know we're in a hurry. We're trying to get people off the phone, but sometimes we answer the wrong question.
Yeah.
They're asking us a question, and if we answer right away, we just gave control away, and we might answer the wrong question. So it's really another, like let's say in the clinical area, they might say, "Is this going to hurt?"
Would you like it to?
We're always so good at saying, "Oh no, we're fine." We need to step back a minute and say, "Well, tell me more about that. Are you really concerned about, what part of this are you concerned about hurting?"
So think about why. Remember, 2 reasons. Why are they asking that question? Is this going to hurt? There's 2 possible reasons. What do you think one obvious one is?
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad experience. Something's hurt them before, or the opposite, less obvious, is what? They don't know. Fear. F-E-A-R. Paula, what is it?
False evidence appearing real.
They're just making something up. And so when I have this patient, I say, I hear you. Every now and then someone asks that question, and usually it has to do with one of 2 things. Either you haven't had an experience to compare it to, and you're not really sure, or you've had an experience in the past that you're remembering. Which is it for you, Paula?
Yeah, well, the last doctor, I was numb for 3 days after the procedure.
Wow. Were you swollen?
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
A little bit? Okay. What do you think could be done differently so that doesn't happen again? Do you have a solution there?
No, I was hoping you would.
Okay, let's talk about it then. So I want to make sure she doesn't have a preconceived notion, because if I give an answer and she's like, oh no, that's exactly what they did, right? Then I just stepped in it. So I clarify first that she doesn't have an answer, and then I present. I say, well, here's what we do in our office. We numb the area before we even numb it with a gel. Okay?
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah. And I tell you what, our doctors, they're magicians with getting, we call it freezing the tooth, right? We freeze the tooth. We get it so you can't feel anything. And when I mean there, not only can you not feel it now, but the slowness, how it wears off in the afternoon so that you can slowly regain that feeling again. That's what you want. And you want it to feel good by tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds.
How does that sound?
That sounds better. So I think the main thing is, I mean, that's really an objection to, which we're going to get into how to respond to objections.
Yeah.
But we tend to glaze over these things without really finding out what's behind that question. Wasn't there a book called The Question Behind the Question or something like that? So sometimes there's a question behind the question. We need to figure out what that is. So what is a system? Let's go back to our manual. What is a system that we're going to be talking about a lot in asking questions? And I would say that would be SWOT. So Eric, teach us SWOT.
Yeah, so SWOT, that is, well, it started from the Harvard Business School. And it's SWOT, not AT, not like the SWAT team. So it's a tool that's used to analyze the situation. You can use it in conversations to analyze the relationship, which is how we're going to use it. But they used it in Harvard Business School. They taught it like, all right, look at that business and say, what are its strengths? What are its weaknesses? What opportunities does it have that it's missing out on? And what are the threats that are preventing it from getting those opportunities? And so when you use that as a conversation piece, we just translate to some synonyms here that we use. So we say things like, strengths are likes, weaknesses are dislikes, opportunities is an ideal picture, and then threats is, again, what's standing in the way. So for example, in your preclinical, well, we do it on the phone, and we also do this preclinical. So you can use it in a couple places. But when you ask these questions, you want to make sure that you're asking them in a way that gets the patient, the conversation flowing, right? You don't want to say yes or no questions. Is there anything you like? Is there anything you don't like? Because what are the patients going to say, guys? Yeah, no. They'll take the path of least resistance. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Your S's will say, I don't know.
There's no commitment to that conversation. So when we ask these questions, you want to make sure you're not only setting them up, but you're also giving yourself an opportunity to get a lot of dialogue back. Because the more information you get, the better job you're going to connect with them to get to that pull purchase that we're looking for and create a relationship that's beyond just my insurance. Okay? Because now I've created a relationship with them on the phone. They've spent time with me. We're invested in each other. And then chair side, before we do a clinical exam, we do a different version of this and we get even deeper into it. Right? So I might, so Paula, do you want to do one? You want to do one of the examples, or do you want to just keep it basic?
And then we'll ask you guys to do one. So,
okay. Do you want me to do both examples of phone and chair side, or you want to just stick to chair side?
Why don't we just do like vacation?
Okay, vacation. So we'll keep it real generic, guys. So I'm gonna introduce the conversation. So there's a headline up here, because if I just jump into the questions, she's gonna look at me like, why are you asking me this? Right?
Yeah. Oh, there has to be an introduction.
So I got to introduce it, just like a speech, right? Introduction. Tell them what you're going to tell them. The body. Tell them. Conclusion. Tell them what you told them. So we're going to have introduction. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to use those 4 phrases. Tell me, describe, explain, share with me. So they're commands so that I get dialogue. Okay? And I'll keep it at that. All right. There's more to it, but we'll talk more about that later. So Paula, I'm really curious. Last year we were so bottled up in our homes and everything, and this year the family really wants to get out and spread their wings, and we're trying to figure out where's the best place to go. And I know you've traveled a lot. You've got family in Hawaii, and so I'd really love your input. Can I ask you a few questions about where you guys have vacationed before?
Sure.
So, tell me, what was your favorite place you've ever been?
My favorite place that I really like to go is a cruise.
Oh. What do you mean? Like, what's a certain location or any cruise?
Any cruise. I don't care, as long as I'm on a ship.
And why is that? Why do you like the boat or the ship so much? What is it about it that?
Because my cell phone doesn't work.
You get to unplug. And everybody's taking care of everything probably, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yes.
Gotcha. So no favorite location. You'll go anywhere as long as it's a cruise then. I understand. Okay.
Right. I don't care about getting off the ship.
Yeah. So something I really want to avoid. Tell me what's the I guess worst place you went that you'll never go back to?
Oh, wow. New York.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't really happy with New York. Have you ever been?
Yeah. What happened?
Well, it was just really hard to find someone who spoke English there.
Wow.
And it was so crowded and so busy and so noisy.
Yeah.
And, you couldn't really drive anywhere. You had to take a subway or a cab.
Really the opposite of a cruise, really.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So ideally, if you could create your perfect vacation, tell me, what does that look like? Where are you going? All of it.
Like I said, I like being on the boat. I like just being quiet. I don't want to be around a lot of people, and I know that sometimes that's challenging on a cruise. But sometimes I like to just stay in the room or on the balcony or something like that, and read
Wow.
and not talk to a whole lot of people. And that sounds opposite than my personality, but if I really want to rest, that's what I got
I
to do.
gotcha. It's a restful vacation. Somebody else is worrying about everything, and you're just along for the ride and get to unplug. Gotcha.
No
Gotcha.
cooking, no cleaning, just yeah.
Yeah. So, are you ready to go on vacation this year? Is there anything keeping you from doing that, where you're going on a cruise this year?
Yeah, the cruises aren't sailing.
Oh yeah, with COVID. Yeah. So
And I
what will you do instead then?
That's a good question. Probably go to Hawaii. I don't
Okay.
know. If they'll
Yeah.
let me in without a vaccine.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. It helps me a ton. All
Yeah,
right.
sure.
So, did you guys hear the steps? What did you like? And I went into some questions after that. And then tell me what you didn't like, and then describe ideal, and then what's keeping you from doing it. You guys hear all that? Okay.
So now we want you to do it with each other. So
On
find
vacations.
your partner, and maybe you want to find a different partner. Maybe you're tired of your partner. Find somebody and talk about, just SWOT your vacation. Okay? Just SWOT your vacation. We just want to get in the habit of swatting. Okay? Roll.
Remember your introduction. Set up the conversation so that you're engaged. Yep.
What do you usually like to do?
I enjoy taking outdoor cruising. I like walking around. I think my last favorite vacation was probably Yellowstone. Just seeing all the beautiful country, the bears, the buffalo, beautiful scenery, the snow-capped mountains, and it's Old Faithful.
Well, yeah.
And,
Yes, we are.
um,
So you like, you want to be about everything will be quiet.
Well, I just like seeing nature, I like going out hiking, spend some time, country. It's kind of reminded me of civil services and just kind of out in your own area, in your own time. Yeah, I live in New York, but not anymore. It's just Andrew Coleman's there. So, one of my favorite vacations ever I got to see. Farmland, Farmland.
Yeah.
That's in the front row. Yes. It was awesome. My kids got to shake hands with Papa. Yeah, different dog. It was so awesome. It was $50 million a day. But I did like going hard though. I love Broadway.
I like the laughing.
That's the fact. But I did see 6 $3. That's true. One of my favorites ever.
Okay, are we done? We need more time.
Anybody plan a really good vacation now?
Thank you for being the light person. Is that you, Jennifer?
Yes.
You're gonna have the electrician show up and move the light switch to behind you. That's what next on the action plan. All right, so we're trying to teach you a conversation piece. Sometimes we get stuck on wondering, how do I develop a relationship and create a niche in my practice where people are raving about me and they're not just coming to me because I have convenient hours, or I'm in the insurance network, or something along those lines. How do I go to the next level? This conversation piece, this is foundational, using questions and SWOT and expanding from there. This is how your patients leave going, wow, my dentist is amazing. I love them so much. Why? And they can't really wrap their brain around it. And it's really because you're interested, not interesting. Did you hear how I didn't talk about my busy vacations to Disney World we love so much? Oh, we love going to Disney World. The people don't bother me, Paula. I don't unwind at all. I'm go on vacation. You didn't hear me say that, right?
Right.
Because I'm being interested, not interesting. But she really got me thinking, going, man, maybe I do need a vacation like that where I just go sit on the beach.
Well, I've done my time with 5 kids taking them on vacation. I ain't doing that no more.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. So this is really good, and we want you to get. We're going to come back to SWOT because we're actually getting ready to do that with phone skills of how we use SWOT on the phone with a new patient. So, Eric, you want to take us into phone skills? I love the way you teach it.
Yeah. Do you want me to do a separate recording, Paula?
Yeah.
Okay, let me stop this one. All right, so we're wrapping up questions and introduction to SWOT, and we'll move into new patient phone call.